Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Monday Night Skippies. It's the round number 5 of season 4 of the UK&I Monday Night Skip Barber Series, live here on RaceSpotTV in association with the Calm Zone. Tonight we are back at Virginia International Raceway and the Grand West layout, so it's going to be a 26 turn, 4.07 mile long lap here. 8 laps we're doing today, and currently running a 20-minute open qualifying session, so still got a few minutes left on that. Same weather as we've had pretty much all season, mostly cloudy with 78 degrees Fahrenheit and 91 degrees Fahrenheit on the track, so going to be pretty much average to what we've had all season long so far, and we've seen some great races so far as well. Still got a couple of minutes left here in qualifying, but it's Lee Anderson currently ahead of Anthony PM Jones and Nicholas Von Roberts in third. So my name is Linus Bergstrom, and I'm joined as always by Rachel Wyford. And Rachel, great start to the season so far, and probably another great race here today.
Absolutely, it's been a very crazy season we've seen so far today. We've had so many different winners, things have been completely off what we've expected, crazy driving, exciting racing. It's been a fair but very turbulent season.
It definitely has, and 4 rounds into the championship, as you can see now, is Ewan Pattinson leading the way at 134 points, with Simon Edwards in second, 116, and Lee Anderson in third on 99 points. But we know that both Simon Edwards and Lee Anderson had at least one bad race each, so they've got drop weeks to get back closer to Ewan Pattinson, so to speak. But it's still all to play for here, as we're only 4 rounds into the championship. A good race here today could definitely change everything there as well. Lee Anderson sitting there third. He's currently on pole position with PM Jones, like we said, in second, and then our championship leader is currently down in 5th position. Simon Edwards is struggling big time down in 10th. I mean, it's not far off the lead, but still quite a way down if you want to be in the championship hunt. This is also the longest layout of this track. I think it's the Grand West, like we said, and this is where I made my RaceSpotTV debut about 2.5 years ago or something like that, January of 2018. So coming up on 3 years here, and hopefully this is going to be as good as the rest of the races. Now we're on board here with Lee Anderson trying to improve his lap, coming up to the oak tree here, then back down the long back straightaway, and then you're going to see him come into a hairpin down at the end of the straight. Rather than go down left down the hill, he's going to make a sharp turn into the right and go back into the infield, where we've got about 10 corners to navigate through. So don't usually run this layout, so it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers cope here, but it's been a lot cleaner in practice and qualifying than we usually see. And we saw a car go by him there as well, so this lap probably won't be great for him, but still got one more chance, I believe, if he can make it to the line. I don't think he will, so this should be it for him.
Yeah, absolutely, Linus. It's definitely one of the tracks where I think the drivers here are racing more against the circuit itself than each other. VIR, especially Grand West, being such a tricky, long and relatively narrow track with next to no real drivable runoff is the word I'll use, because runoff here, you're on grass and you are usually on destination towards one of those barriers, meaning this is a track you really can't afford to mess up or make slight mistakes, run wide. It's tricky, but it's also exciting. It's definitely a driver's circuit, and it should lead to some fantastic racing.
Yeah, I think it will. Compared to last week, where we had 95% of the track at Watkins Glen being made up of drafting passes, pretty much only got one straightaway here, maybe to the back straight and then a little bit on the front straight. Other than that, it's pretty much constantly turning back and forth. So this is, compared to last week, where it was all about the draft and the speed coming off the corners, this is going to be all about the drivers being able to navigate the corners. As we see him coming here across the line, just a few seconds short of being able to start another lap. So it's going to be all over for Lee Anderson, but he is on provisional pole position. So going to have to see who else is out on the lap here. Behind him we've got PM Jones just coming down to cross the line here. Actually, he already has, and he's not going to improve. So he's not going to be any higher up than that. Will Redford is going to be in 7th as of now. Simon Edwards still on a lap as well.
Seems to be.
He's coming down the hill here, I believe, coming into the last couple of corners. We're on board with Terry McGrother here, who's currently in 30th. Just going to keep an eye here on Simon Edwards when he's coming onto the start-finish line. McGrother actually doing the same, just ahead of Simon Edwards. Is he going to be able to improve first of all? He is not. He's going to stay in 30th. Simon Edwards coming to complete his lap, and it's going to be an improvement for him up to P number 7, 3/10 gain there. So that's going to move him up. It's very, very close around those positions. The top is within a 10th, and then there's some massive gaps all the way down. But on a lap that is almost 3 minutes long, being within 1 second is actually not that much compared to like last week when the lap times were just over a minute. Got Patrick Fairbanks here as well coming to complete his lap. He's currently down in 23rd. See what he can be able to do here. Coming onto the straightaway, approaching the finish line. It's very far down, right by this little red hut here. See what he can do is 6:02. He improves to a 55.338, so that is actually one position up to 22nd, and he will be one of the last cars to complete. Jonathan Rex coming as well. He's in 37th. See what he can do. He's got a car behind him drafting as well. Nathan Willoughby, he's going to put down his first lap in 33rd. He's going to beat Jonathan Rex, and that should, I think, be it for our front runners. A couple of cars here still running, but they are out of the top 30. Just as I say that, actually, here comes Seth Brown, but his current lap is already way over 3 minutes here, so he's not going to be able to go anywhere. Long tracks like this, the countdown at the end of qualifying is always long, and when the timer runs out, you basically can complete whatever lap you're on. And if you just started, we have to wait for you for about 3 minutes, but the cooldown is 4 minutes, so everybody basically has a lot of time to do whatever they want. But that was the last car across, so let's go through the starting grid for today's race. It's going to be Lee Anderson on pole position, the only car under a 252 with a 251.945 ahead of PM Jones, second Nicholas Von Robertson, third, and Lee Hughes in fourth. Ewan Pattinson in fifth, Ben Evans in 6th, Simon Edwards up to 7th as you saw, Will Redford in 8th, Seth Brown in 9th, and then Clark Williams rounding out the top 10. Daniel Tufts in 11th, Jack Knight in 12th, Seymour Harding in 13th, Ray Peasley in 14th, Kevin Budgeon in 15th, John Edwards in 16th, Alex Bailey in 17th, Tony Stack in 18th, Mark Langford 19th, and Daryl Taylor rounding out the top 20. The rest of the grid up on your screen there. And today, Rachel, we have 40 cars signed up to race, 38 who posted a time, so not a very big grid for such a long track, but still I think seeing how close these guys are despite being seconds apart, I think we're up for a pretty good race here today.
Absolutely, yeah, it definitely looks to be one of those situations where we should be seeing an exciting race, and the times are looking good.
Nicholas von Roberts, breaking news, has had some sort of issue and has disconnected from the session. He has qualified in 3rd, but he is not looking like he will be able to make the grid here today. He's coming back in, so let's hope his things are quick enough to be able to make the grid here. That would be a shame qualifying 3rd, but everybody currently lining up here. He's still got about a minute and a half to make it onto the grid, so hopefully he can make it. Lee Anderson, though, qualified on pole position. And our 1 second bracket, I realized we haven't been doing that for a while since I took over, because I keep forgetting, but 1 second bracket here today is only 6 cars because of how long the lap is. But don't let that fool you, it's going to be very, very close nonetheless. Simon Edwards, though, down in P number 7, Rachel. How long do you think it's going to take for him to lead a lap here today?
It could be a very short period of time. It could be within a lap, considering how long it is here, being 6.5 kilometers. But could also not be until the end or not at all. It's a difficult place, and it's hard sometimes to read this track.
Yeah, it definitely is. Still waiting here for the last couple of cars to make the grid, and what we saw last week, drivers were weaving coming down the start. I don't think we'll be seeing that here today because they haven't had those issues. So, but we might want to look for that. Look at the first couple of cars coming down towards turn 1. If they're weaving, we know it's cool. Nicholas von Robert actually made the grid as well. He's on it, and I think he's the last car to grid up. The engines are revving. Red lights are on, and the green flag is out, and away we go. 4th place, they're getting not a very good start. That's Leah Hughes. He gets a bad getaway. Meanwhile, 3rd place, Nicholas von Roberts actually gets a great launch. Gonna look up the inside of PM Jones already before turn 1, but he's gonna back out of it. So the front, I believe, 7, 8, 9 cars going to be single file until they get to the braking point. Then they're all going to be side by side, coming around turn 1 and 2 here in down towards NASCAR Bend here for the first time, and this is where we usually see the incident starts to happen, but not this time. They're all single file back again here at the front, so all doing a very good job. And I don't think actually there has been an incident further back. Alex Bailey is falling way down the order. He's out of the race, as is Peter Cowan and Troy Goatley as well, so something has happened back there. See if we can figure out what happened there. But now coming up the S's for the first time, and it is Lee Anderson holding on to the lead ahead of Anthony PM Jones and Nicholas von Roberts.
Yes, and he is. Field still pretty close together right now, even though we've got a bit of separation between a couple of packs. Lead group is pushing up, heading towards Oak Tree, which unfortunately that tree is no longer there in real life, which is sad. Second group is around about Ray Peasley and his group back there in 14th. A couple of cars already out. Alex Bailey is out of the field already. Daryl Taylor also out from that earlier incident there, Linus, as another group back here, about 24th place running back, as the leader's now heading up towards, or past Oak Tree, past the back pits here, about to turn in for that Grand West layout. Around about turn 14 here.
Yeah, coming down, this is going to be the first major braking point of the race, but they're all pretty spread out, not getting a lot of draft coming down the hill here. Really hard braking zone, though. Lee Anderson going to lead them all down in here. They almost concertina into each other, but still all single file all the way through. Got a bit of a 3 wide further back there. I believe that is around P number 20. Not exactly sure, but they're going to single file out as well, so everybody doing a pretty good job here at the start. That incident as well early on was Alex Bailey. He lost it by himself around turn number 3, and then had a couple of cars run into him, and then single car incidents after that. So nothing major, just not able to get off the track quick enough. And you can see here bouncing over the curbs back and forth, coming down the S's here, down the hill, and then around onto the shorter layout that we usually run when we're here. So these curbs, especially on that ground west layout, they're a little bit too high for these cars. I think they don't look very big, but when they hit those, they bounce up way up in the air. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can all keep the speed through there and keep control of their cars. But so far so good for everybody, and that lead group currently goes from first all the way down to P17, a long train of cars before we have about a 1 second gap down to the next one. So from our leader Lee Anderson down to Dave Kirkman in 17th is this lead train, but it's starting to spread out more and more. So I think we're going to see the usual 3, 4, 5 car breakaway here as they come to complete lap number 1. And we have a move here that is Lee Hughes looking to the outside of Nicholas Von Roberts here for 3rd position. See what he can do. He's going to hold it around the outside. Von Roberts has good speed on the inside. Also Lee Hughes not going to be able to do anything, and it looks like Von Roberts is going to be able to clear him. He has slight overlap though. Lee Hughes is going to get the overspeed coming into NASCAR bend, and he's going to dive late on the brakes, and he's going to take 3rd position away.
Yeah, coming to left hook now. Anderson still leading this thing. Great speed by him, of course. And PM Jones, and that big move there. 2-corner move by Lee Hughes gets that position made. Simon Edwards currently back here in 7th where he started. We're not really seeing a lot of movement from him. We've got some 2 wide just behind these guys here. Tony Stack running down in 16th place just gets clear here on Peasley. And Langford getting himself through now towards that big open space where you can get some track time in. And that's going to be a big advantage for these guys. Linus, clean air around this track will be huge. That will help you gain a lot of time. Running in a pack, trying to pass it here. With how tight these corners are, it's going to definitely cost you a lot of time and space. I'm surprised Lee Hughes and Von Roberts. Oh, that was a bit sideways. I think we had Ben Evans there just went on the grass a little bit as they're approaching Oak Tree. Gets it again, loses that position. Simon Edwards will come through, as will 4 or 5 of the cars. As just catching that grass, it just bit, and the car lost all speediness.
Yeah, he did a good job holding on to it the first time, and then dirty tires coming up into Oak Tree, he just went off, and good job holding on to it though. Meanwhile, they're side by side for 2nd position. Now for 3rd, it's Lee Hughes looking up the inside. He's going to get 2nd, he's going to get the lead as well. He's going to break past Lee Anderson, and we have a new leader here. Lee Hughes on lap number 2. PM Jones looking to take advantage there as well, but Anderson down into 2nd. While Roberts in 4th trying to do something as well. And then Simon Edwards is Pattinson up in 5th. Edwards has gotten up to 6th, so 1 position gain so far. Now down through the spiral here and back over a little crest. Oh, and we have contact further back in the field. That is trying to figure out who that was. I think that was Tony Stack who was involved in that.
Would seem to be that way, yeah. He's had a bit of a moment there. We'll try and get a replay for what happened, but he's been involved in that just about turn 14 it was, in fact. It was an incident between himself and the 88, the 109, 3 wide coming in there. That was Kirkman and Fairbanks, and as you see them, he just comes a little bit too tight, clips himself on the 88 machine, gets, oh my god, nearly flipped end over end there. Slid sideways. That car is somehow not damaged at all, but that was a big scary moment.
Yeah, going 3 wide is not the best of ideas. I mean, these cars are pretty small, so you can do it, but if you're gonna do it, you gotta leave enough space, and if you don't, then that's what's gonna happen. See if he's able to keep going. I don't think he's gonna lose too much from that, but back at the front though, it's Lee Hughes leading the way from Lee Anderson. And those 2 have broken away a little bit from the cars behind, not too much, but then there's a massive gap down to 3rd as we see Nicholas Von Roberts there looking up the brakes. That's actually PM Jones. He's going off from 3rd place. He's going to back it into the grassy where he's able to rejoin, and there's another car off as well. That is Anthony PM Jones and Nicholas Von Roberts both went off in turn number 1. Wonder if they hit each other.
Yeah, Linus, we had some minor contact there, if you can see from this. Coming into braking zone, Von Roberts comes in a bit too heavy, and you'll see him just, he nudges the back wheel in the braking zone, locks up, nudges the back left wheel, and you see here the replay showing on your screens. They'll come into the braking zone, you'll see how quickly he catches up to him, and it's just out of nowhere, boom, clips the back of the car, spins PM Jones around. Thankfully there's no further contact after that. Both cars undamaged, but definitely lost a lot of time.
Yeah, that was not good, but that means Lee Hughes and Lee Anderson are pulling away with this. Now they have a 2 second gap down to Simon Edwards, who's all of a sudden up into P number 3. And so if you and Pattinson and Will Redford behind him can just be nice to him and let him go here, he might be able to catch this front 2, but we're on lap number 3 here of lap number 8, so not done too much, about 30% through the race at the moment, as we have another car off here. That's Daniel Tufts going off in the Oak Tree, but he's back on track. That's only going to cost him a couple of positions, not too much. So They're just going to be lacking a bit of speed here coming down the straightaway. Lee Anderson having a look at Lewis, but he's not going to do anything. These two now are going to work together to try and pull away from Simon Edwards, because they know if he gets up there, he could very well be competing for the race win here, as One Roberts gains the position coming down into turn number 14 here as well, further back in the field.
Yeah, he really does, and it could definitely become a very different process for them. As the gap we've seen here now, and look at this, Simon Edwards closing, he's up in third place already by this point, and that's been a crazy growth for him. Will Redford has been a very strong competitor this season. He's sitting there in that 23 machine in fourth right now, as they're coming through the end part of this Grand West loop, ready to rejoin at the roller coaster. And it's been really telling that we've seen people like Edwards just slowly migrate through this field. Hasn't had to be aggressive, make moves. He's simply staying on the track here and then letting VIR do what it does best. End races.
Yeah, definitely got Will Redford all over the back of him though. But they're cutting down on that lead now. It's down to 1.7 from Lee Anderson down to Simon Edwards, and he's almost within that drafting range. As Lee Anderson makes a bit of a mistake there, goes a little bit wide on the curve. That's going to let him gain a little bit more. It's down to 1.6, so within a couple of laps, at about halfway, I think they might be close enough to start making moves here. Hughes and Anderson though half a second apart, so not going to be a move made down into turn number 1 here. You can see Will Redford, he's having a look at Edwards back there, but he's going to move him behind. Edwards probably telling him just stay put, we'll get up to the leaders and then we can start racing, and they're bringing you and Pattinson along as well, so could be a 5-car racing for the leaders. You saw Clark Williams and Seth Brown, they're behind going side by side through turn number 1. That's going to be Clark Williams holding off Seth Brown for P number 6. Going a little bit wider is Edwards, but not too much, so he's going to be able to hold on to it. Down that straightaway though, Anderson had drafted, Edwards did not, so it's back up to 1.9. Pulled in away slightly again, but the last half of the lap seems to be where Edwards is a little bit quicker, so he could very well close up. But now Edwards is right on the back of Lee Hughes again. If those two go side by side through one corner, that gap is going to be gone in an instant.
Yeah, it certainly will be. The gap is something that can really be one corner will do absolutely everything to this. I couldn't say it better, because Hughes and Anderson not likely to fight right now. I think they realise that here with their race they have 8 laps, so halfway through it. 4 laps is a long time. These average laps are looking at nearly 3 minutes, and I don't think they're going to fight. I think they recognise they've only got 4 laps left.
Oh.
They need to basically run together for at least 2.
Edwards went wide there, coming out of out around the oak tree, and it's going to cost him a ton of speed coming down the straight. It's going to promote Will Redford up into 3rd as well. That was the one mistake he could not do, and the gap opened up by half a second just like that. So Edwards done everything he can, pushing harder than the car can take. He goes wide, and all the work he's done is pretty much straight out the window, and I think that could be it, because the gap up to almost 2.5 seconds again now. So unless he can get past Will Redford real quick here, I don't think he's going to be able to get up to the leaders unless they start battling hard. Meanwhile though, the group behind, 6th, 7th, 8th, all the way down into P number 12. That's from Seth Brown down to Nicholas Von Roberts. These guys all over each other, going 2 and 3 wide down the straightaway the last couple of laps here. See if they can do it for us now that we're watching them. Seth Brown are leading the way. Oh, 2 cars going across the grass straight away there. That's Clark Williams getting the worst of that, and I think Seth Brown will have a bit of a slowdown as well. That could really shake things up here, but Seth Brown still going strong though. Clark Williams dropped a couple of positions there, down into 10th now. Ben Evans is on the back of Seth Brown. See what he'll be able to do, and just side by side behind Williams as well. Now that's Jack Knight and Von Roberts is going to go past him up into 11th. Everything going on back in this group, so have to keep an eye on these guys. John Edwards back there as well, just behind, trying to catch up. But coming onto the straightaway here, I think we might be able to see these 2 or 3 wide situations again, as Ben Evans is all over the back of Seth Brown. He's actually going to pass Seth Brown. He's going to he's going to get the slowdown here. He's going to serve it on the straightaway. That's going to hurt him a ton. He's just going to have to let all of these guys go, get his slowdown there for the shortcut that he took up there in the downhill SS. Meanwhile, Simon Edwards moves back up into 3rd as well. In turn number 1, he locks up, but he gets the pass done on Will Redford, and Lee Anderson is taking the lead back from Lee Hughes as well.
Yeah, it's changing around quite a bit here, and Edwards, of course, leading that 2nd grouping. The gap staying relatively constant between those 2 groups, and back here, actually, just want to keep an eye on Kirkman, who's running 2 wide at the moment with the 31 car of Mark Redford. But Will Redford towards the front, and the father's a little bit further back here, running in 18th and 17th place here. Someone just ahead of those guys. Dave Dawson just behind them, or Dowson I should say, behind that group. As the fight's still going on here, there's a lot of stuff still happening on the track, and keeping eyes here on Kirkman as he come around, heading up now through the Snake. And he's going to have an opportunity to run, I think, Aliens for Oakley.
Yeah, I don't know if you really want to try and make a pass coming up here, but if you get a chance, you might as well take it, because you never know when it's going to come back to you again. But Kirkman's staying behind here, being patient with Redford. See what he can do. If he can get a good run into Oaktree, though, he could set him up for the straightaway. Ahead of these guys, not much going on this lap, so we'll stay with this. See, he's going to back up here. He's going to get a little bit wider entry, at least into the first part, and then going to try and set him up down the straight. Now the leader's going out of here. Lee Hughes actually took the lead. Hard late braking there into the hairpin, and the group behind Seymour Harding getting into the back of Ben Evans there. He's got Williams up next to Daniel Tufts as well. He's going to make a position up again, up into 8th. So those guys kind of bouncing off each other there into turn number 14. Coming up or down the spiral, I should say, into a sharp left-hander, coming over a little crest and then back down the hill. Man, these guys, they just keep going at it.
No, they really are. It's definitely been a very action-packed race, and they're not going to give too much quarter. Keep my eye on Jack Knight right now. He's at the back of this second train here, just behind your lead grouping. And this is the group with Vaughan Roberts, Williams, Tufts, Harding, Evans in it. And they're pretty active right now. Jack Knight's been kind of keeping his eyes on these guys as they're coming through roller coaster down towards the start-finish line here on 5. And it's been a very vocal little group of races.
Yeah, it definitely has. They're not really keeping up with the guys ahead. The gap from Evans up to the top 5 is almost 6 seconds, but I don't think these guys care about that. They're having fun racing each other this hard. Now Evans going to go defensive. He's got Harding behind him. Meanwhile, Lee Anderson taking the lead back here from Lee Hughes, coming down into turn number 1. Edwards, Redford and Pattinson behind, all staying single file, doing the best they can, but they are dropping off. The gap is now 3 seconds, so these two at the front doing a great job working together, using the draft down the straightaway to go as fast as they can, and they are pulling away from Simon Edwards in 3rd, so I think he's going to have to settle for that position unless these two do something drastic towards the end. Meanwhile, Seth Brown is pulled into the pits with some sort of an issue there, so unfortunate for him. I think he might be able to get back out in the points position, but he's definitely going to be chopping down the order.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's been interesting to see Anderson and Hughes fighting this much. They're thankfully only doing it on the straights. It is actually giving them an advantage, Linus, when they do that, because they're using that draft energy to just increase the gap. This way they're not fighting each other too badly, and it means that when it comes to the final lap, they can afford to race and have this 3-second gap they have to Edwards really be a huge benefit. That group hasn't fought much either, but they also haven't been passing, so that gap is slowly widening.
Yeah,
behind him, sorry. Tufts just took a little vacation onto the grass. Luckily recovers before the turn into Oaktree, but he was a little off the track there by a whole car width. Thankfully, just about kept it safe.
He did, and we see here at the front again, Lee Hughes moving to the left to pass, and Anderson literally lifts off the throttle to make sure that Lee Hughes is clear going into the corner, and this is just to keep these guys going as fast as possible. Simon Edwards behind has no help from Will Redford and Ewan Pattinson, so these two are pulling away, so unless anything happens, these are the two that are going to win the race. Meanwhile, Seymour Harding has backed it into turn number 14 at the end of the straightaway. Going to get a replay here, see what happened here. That's going to be Ben Evans ahead of him, I think, behind a tree. He's just in the grass and loose. I think he just went wide there all by himself. See if we can get a better angle. Here we see him from the top. Got the car number 36 in front of him. That's Ben Evans. He's going to get too close to him in the braking. He literally just missed the braking zone. I think he forgot that they were using the Grand West layout and just wanted to keep going straight here. So way too late on the brake, swerves into the grass and spins out, doesn't hit anybody. So down to P number 15 he goes from P number 7. So that's very unfortunate for him, but he's still in the race, so can still gain a few positions. Back at the front though is Lee Anderson behind Lee Hughes. He's going to close up on him here, see if he can do it early enough. And you're going to see them go one side each, and then Lee Anderson is going to retake the lead. It's going to be on to lap number 7 though, so 2 laps to go. Here we see Lee Hughes. He's going to lift, he's going to move in behind him, and they're going to pull away even more, so the gap now up to 3.2 seconds. 3.3 even from second place down into third. Where actually Will Redford made some pass on Simon Edwards as well going into turn number 1. So Will Redford up into third. These guys are not going to be working together to catch the leaders anymore. They're going to be racing. So now Will Redford on the final podium position. Ewan Pattinson is right there as well. Going to be interesting to see how this thing develops, and that's going to increase the gap to leaders even more. So 3-car battle here for the final podium position. Could potentially be the win if they mess it up at the front, but that is for time to tell.
I don't think it's too early in the season yet to talk about points, Linus, because right now, those 2 guys in that second group, they're fighting for that top spot. The only 2 people in the series so far in triple points being Ewan Patterson and Simon Edwards, and those 2 are currently fighting for position, and that position will mean points, a closing of a gap or a widening of a gap. And that's a big advantage. It may not be the full points, but it's certainly going to help them. They've had more stable results together than most of the other top 5 runners so far in the championship, so I think that's going to be a far bigger battle in terms of the overall implications this season than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. Go on.
Hughes passing Anderson here, and it's not a fought pass. Again, he's letting him go. So that 3.4 seconds gap is widening even further as they're just passing each other back and forth. Perhaps Anderson setting up a strategy now for the end of this race, as he just lets Hughes go through there, pulled wide to the left, let him go up the inside, nice and clean, no conflict, no time lost.
No, I don't really know how long they're going to keep doing this. They've got 1.5 laps to go, and meanwhile you saw Simon Edwards there break his way back past Will Redford as well, locking up that front wheel again. So a little bit unstable setup for Simon Edwards, it looks like, and that might be a factor in this as well, that he's not able to catch up. But these front 2 guys, they're doing an amazing job working together. Now we're back with this third group again. Daniel Tubbs in 9th. This group is now down to 4 cars because of the little mistakes we've seen in this group, but Tufts all over the back here of Clark Williams. Ben Evans high on the curve there, he's got to be careful not to get a slowdown, chasing Nicholas Von Roberts, who's currently sitting in P number 6. Now coming up through the S's onto the normal layout again, down through the last few corners here, see what they'll be able to do, coming down to take the white flag. They're kind of spreading out a little bit again. But the leaders now coming onto the straightaway to take the white flag for the final lap. Lee Hughes ahead of Lee Anderson, and Edwards, Redford and Pattinson all over each other. It looks like they're going to be 3 wide here coming down the straightaway. Redford moving to the left, Pattinson in behind. Where is he going to go? He's going to go all the way over to the left. He's going to have enough draft to make it 3 wide. He's going to be out there. It's Edwards on the inside or Redford in the middle. They're swerving, almost hitting each other. Who's going to be late on the brakes here? They're all neck and neck coming in. It's going to be Pattinson around the outside, Edwards on the inside. Redford locks up in the middle, but it's going to be Simon Edwards coming out of it with 3rd position. Now Pattinson on the outside, can he get the overspeed here, get up the inside of Edwards again? He cannot, but he's going to get 4th away from Redford unless Redford can hold it around the double left-hander. He won't. He's going to try an undercut, but it's not going to be enough. So Edwards up 3rd and Pattinson up into P number 4, Rachel.
It is indeed, and as long as those 2 stay together, the running order of them will be definitely the points story here as we're on that final lap. And does seem to have got a little cloudier slightly on the track, so this might affect things slightly. Anderson and Hughes changing positions here, and Anderson's allowed Hughes to go through here, so that could be significant later on in the race, especially if he doesn't try to pass him before they enter turn 14. After Oak Tree, that could be huge in terms of setting up for the end of this race. Here is, sideways, Patterson gets sideways there just behind him in his group, and things getting a little bit exciting.
Yeah, they're going almost 3 wide through the climbing S's and up towards the Oak Tree. I don't really think you want to be doing that, but Edwards gets clear of him again. Pattinson back into 4th again. Leaders coming down the straight. We don't really know what they're going to do, but these 3 are probably going to be 3 wide once again. Now Anderson having a look up the inside of Lee Hughes at the front. Now what's going to happen back here? I think Edwards has enough of a gap that he's going to be able to stay ahead. Lee Hughes, that's Anderson up the inside. He's going to get that lead away. He's going to be late on the brakes though for the AUs. He's going to go a little bit wide, so Anderson is going to clear him. These guys back here, Redford on the outside, he's going to lock it, he's going to go sideways, he's going to be in the grass, going to rejoin before the next group comes up here. He will, so he's going to hold on to 5th, maybe barely. Don't really know what happened there. Oh,
big contact in that second group there. Redford joined that group, and it's been a big conflict as he tried to get back in here. He rejoins and drives into the middle of the track, contacts Vaughan Roberts. We'll get the replay for you there. If you see it, he just comes back in, hits... Oh my god, they all hit each other after that incident started, so Redford's rejoined. Unsafe there, Linus. Caused a 3-car, 4-car hit.
That was not what we wanted to see, but Redford obviously want to get back on track as quickly as possible. Coming down here now through 21, 22, 23, 24 though is your leaders. It's going to be Anderson right on the back of the U's now, down through the roller coaster, down into Hog Pen for the final time. Will the U's be able to hold on? He's going to be the little bit of gravel there for the Anderson. He's going to try and get a good run here though, a little bit sideways, high on the curbs for the U's. What's going to happen here with his speed? Looks like it's going to be Liu still, Lee Anderson trying to get the draft, but it's not going to be enough. Remember, the finish line is late here, but it's going to be Liu winning at VIR, getting his second win of the season ahead of Lee Anderson, and Simon Edwards going to hold off Ewan Pattinson for the final podium position. Clark Williams coming home in 5th, and Will Redford is going to limp home in P number 6 somehow after rejoining there. That was actually a very close finish between those two. Then John Edwards, Jack Knight, Daniel Tufts and Nicholas Vaughan Roberts finishing behind them. Well, that turned very interesting, Rachel, all of a sudden, and then a massive crash to end it all. That was very unfortunate. So Anthony PM Jones is in the gravel as well here on the final lap, dropping way down the order. Not really sure what's happened there, and he's not even rejoining the track. He's just going to keep going. Oh, that car, as you can see here, is completely total to bits. He must have been in the wall somewhere.
Yeah, I think he might have been. We'll get that replay up, Linus, of what happened there. As poor TPM Jones scuttles across the line. I think it's the only word I can use for this, with that wheel turned up right. He scuttles across the finish line to at least finish the race. Unfortunately, in 27th place there. I'm sorry, 11th place, I should say. No, that was 27th.
27th,
yes,
he's number 11.
Him. Yeah, the wheel left him there at the end, and he finishes like Schumacher did at Monaco that year. But we'll get that replay up for you and show exactly what happened back there with Will Redford in turn 14, Linus. And it was a bit of a tricky one for them. So you'll see here, we're just going through it now, as that was a little bit further ahead of what we'd expected. But you see him there come onto the track as they're coming into the corner now.
Yeah, Will Redford's going to be in the grass
out. Yeah.
in front of him.
He's
here
already
somewhere.
spun
There
out. Here he
goes.
comes back in, right in front of them. Contacts there with Vaughan Roberts. Vaughan Roberts hits the black vehicle, hits the green. Everybody makes some sort of contact there. Y no bueno.
That was literally the whole third group getting into it. Well, yeah, I thought he was going to be able to get up. If he would have stayed off the track, I think he'd have been fine. But 36, Clark Williams, everybody just comes piling in there. Thankfully, Clark Williams gets away cleanest here, I think. So that was very fortunate for him. As we have lost Rachel for the minute. So before anything else, let's go through the post-race results. As you saw, Leah Hughes coming away with his second win of the season, about a 10th ahead of Lee Anderson in second, and Simon Edwards rounding out the podium almost 6 seconds further back down the field. Ewan Pattinson in 4th, Will Redford in 5th, Clark Williams in 6th, and John Edwards up into 7th with all that carnage, Jack Knight in 8th, Vaughan Roberts in 9th, and Daniel Tufts rounding out the top 10. It's Kevin Budgeon in 11th, Seymour Harding in 12th, Ben Evans drops down to 13th, Christopher Keeble in 14th, Dave Kirkman 15th, Simon Maltby 16th, Patrick Fairbanks in 17th, Mark Redford in 18th, Dave M. Dowson in 19th, John Torpy from 40th up to 20th, and then Christopher Kane, Tim Adcock, Tony Stack, Terry McGrath, Nathan Willoughby, Stephen Nobius, Anthony PM Jones, as we saw down in 27th, Alan Patterson, Jonathan Rex, and Darren C. Morris in 30th. Rest of the result up on your screen there, and I think we had a record number of 34 cars finishing on the lead lap here, with the lap being as long as it is, with pretty much everybody else crashing out. So a few more there finishing So that was Rachel disappeared again. Okay, that was a very interesting race though. See if we can get any post-race interviews here. Now Rachel is back again. Rachel, any final thoughts on that race before we keep moving?
Well, VIR, I think, went exactly as we expected it to, Linus, and it was a very tricky one for us today, but at the same time, it's a sort of race that builds a season, and it did just that.
Well, it definitely is. First up in the post-race interviews, controversial rejoin Will Redford there, coming home in P number 5. We actually passed Clark Williams there at the end. My scoring got a little bit messed up, but you actually made that pass by about 4/100ths of a second. So, Will, tell us about your race.
First off, I just want to say I'm sorry for that rejoin at the end. I wasn't really thinking straight after I'd just gone off, and it was the last lap, so I wanted to get back on as quick as possible, and it was my fault that happened. But apart from that, it was a good race. It was good in qualifying. I managed to hook up a decent lap at the end, which put me, I think it was P8. My plan was to just follow Simon, because I knew he's normally quick, so that's exactly what I did. I just followed Simon through. Coming on to the last lap, Ewan got past me. I was going to try and set up a move on Simon and just get him onto the last hairpin, so he didn't have a chance to overtake me again, but Ewan got by me, which I wasn't expecting, so I dropped down to the back. And then in the braking zone, Ewan moved to the left a little bit, so I had to move to the left, and it messed me up on the brakes because I missed my braking point at that point. But apart from that, it was an alright race. P5, I'm happy with that.
Oh, sorry. I clicked the wrong button. Good race either way for you there. Anybody you want to send a shout out to before we go?
Shout out to my dad, as usual. And
yeah, you got a top 20 today.
Oh, he did alright then. And my sponsor, Nest in the Woods, and Alan for hosting, as usual.
Well, thank you for that, and what better way to do it than bring in that father, finishing P18, Rachel standing by with Mark Redford.
Indeed, thank you for joining us, Mark. A busy race for you today, and a 18th place finish there, definitely a good one for today.
Hello, Rachel. Nice to speak to you. Yeah, I managed to get to the end without crashing today, which is always a bonus.
Yeah, it looks like you had a pretty busy fight as well towards the end there with the guys around you, including Kirkman, Evans and Keeble. How was the race for you?
Oh, it was a good race. I don't remember seeing Evans, but Dave Dowson and Simon and Dave Kirkman and Chris Keeble. Chris Keeble came past me, and then he got past the two in front. It was good. You know, everyone was being respectful, giving each other room. Good racing. Except I managed to mess it up in the S's, the blind S's. I managed to get myself a 1 second penalty 2 laps in a row. So I dropped off the back of them then.
That sort of thing does happen sometimes. Anybody like to give a shout out to?
To you guys, of course, for doing such a good job, and my team, Turn 4 Motorsports, and a big well done to Will for a top 5 finish. Well done, mate.
There you go, well, Linus, back to you.
Yeah, we'll see how much well done that is when he sees the replay of the final lap. But next up, we've got third place finisher yet again, Simon Edwards. Not the best of qualifying efforts, but still, good race for you.
Yeah, that was the best I could do in qualifying. I got killed halfway through, so I was on cold tyres. Managed to get a reasonable lap in. So yeah, but 10th place starting is a bit scary. But yeah, enjoyed working our way back up to third, although I think most of that was people falling off in front of us. But it was a good battle at the end there, going too wide where you shouldn't.
Yeah, that was very interesting. It's still a bit early in the season as well, but beating you in Pattinson there, you gain on him in the championship. So good run there as well. Next week, though, Tsukuba Circuit, is that a favourite of yours, or what are you hoping for next week?
I'm a bit hot and cold on it. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It's a bit too simple for me.
Okay.
I like this sort of track where it gets a bit complicated. But it can lead to good racing, though. It can lead to good racing. So I'll look forward to it anyway.
Yeah, great. Anybody want to send a shout out to?
To Masternaut and to Ben as well for staying behind me in qualifying. He got a better lap out of that by just staying behind me. So thanks to Ben for doing that. And yourselves, as usual.
Well, thank you for that. And finally, it's Rachel with Dave Kirkman.
Certainly is. Dave Kirkman coming home today in 15th after a pretty busy race. You were there, fighter, of course, and Mark Redford, quite a lot of that one. How are things mid-pack today?
Well, it was intense. I haven't, because I've been quite busy at work, I really haven't practiced this track this week, so I was quite dusty on this one. But yeah, it was really hard racing, actually, and I'm sweating a bit after that race. But it was enjoyable and respectful, so yeah, it was. I think Kevin came through at me on the start up the hill, which was just crazy, and I thought, I've got to let him go, otherwise he'll take me off. But other than that, it was really race with Mark and Chris Keeble and Simon Maltby for most of the race for me.
Well, it certainly was, of course, pretty busy. This track was very, should we say, apples and oranges for some people. What do you think of VIR?
It's a bit like Nordslife. There's so many corners. I don't like Nordslife, and I don't think I'll be doing it this year. I'd never really do it because I just don't enjoy it. But this wasn't. It's not too bad. You can get into the flow of it. I think I just needed more practice really to really kind of improve and get up there in qualifying. But yeah, it's not too bad. It's not one of the best in my opinion.
That's the reason they call it the American Nordschleife in many cases. But Dave, anybody like to give a shout out to?
I'll just give a shout out to you guys for doing a great job with the broadcasts. All the different camera views I've been seeing with the side-by-side and stuff in the recent ones, it looks really good. So well done for doing such good coverage.
We'll have to put that one on Hugo, so thank you to him. Thanks for joining us, Dave Kirkman, coming home today in 15th place. Linus, back to you.
Thank you for that, Rachel and Dave, for the kind words. Next week, we are going over to Tsukuba Circuit for round number 6, the 2000 full layout. Championship standings, though, Simon Edwards gained 1 point on Ewan Pattinson, so that gap is now down to 15 points. Lee Anderson, with his second place finish, is going to close in there, so 13 points behind. Will Redford dropping a little bit, and Leah Hughes, obviously with the win, climbing up into 5th position, so things getting tighter in the championship standings there, but still not even halfway through, and then we got 2 drop weeks, so gonna have to keep a close eye on this. But a bad week from Pattinson, and things are gonna be blown wide open. Next week though, Tsukuba Circuit, same time, same place here on RaceSpotTV. I've been Linus Brostrom, joined by Rachel Whiteford as always, with Hugo Lees doing the amazing job on the cameras. You've been watching Monday Night Skippys in association with the Calm Zone. So until next week, stay safe and take care, everybody. Goodbye.